Okay, so in this next bit, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up our ability to travel between our desert level or island level scene and our base scenes. Now, if you've been doing this project already for a couple months, because this project is a multi-month project, you may already have a base scene set up. So in that case, in your level scene, you're going to substitute the base scene that you want to be traveling to with the base scene that I'll be typing. So for example, if you have like the castle base and you've been upgrading your castle base over the course of a few months, you probably want the player to be traveling back and forth between castle base rather than island or desert base. So whatever base you put in there is going to be up to you. But if this is your first month, then you're just going to be going to the base scene that we've got here, which would be the desert or the island. So to start, we're going to work in our level scene first. We want to go up to File and then down to Build Settings. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull up this window here. All we need to do is while we're in the desert level, click on Add Open Scenes, and then we can close the window. Next, what we can do is select the dungeon gate, and on the right here in our inspector, we're going to see these two fields in the dungeon gate script component, the dungeon scene name and the dungeon loading image. For dungeon scene name, this is where we're typing the scene name of our base scene that we want to travel between. So if, for example, you want to go back to the desert base, then we would type desert base. If you wanted the island base, you'd type island base, and if you wanted one of your previous base scenes, you would type that. The only rule here is that you make sure you spell your base scene name here the exact same way as it's spelled in the folder. So if I go to my desert scenes folder, I can see desert base, it's got a capital D and a capital B, and so I typed it the same way here. If there's even a slight difference in how they're typed, the dungeon gate will not work. So make sure you type that exactly correct. And within your environment folder, you should also have a image in there labeled either as desert or desert loading screen, something like that for whatever environment you're in. We're going to slap that into this loading image thing here. I'm just going to make it so that when we get to the dungeon gate and we get ready to load to our new scene, it's going to throw up an image of what we're loading. So once we've got it done in our level scene, let's save that and then head over to Desert Base, where we're going to do the same thing, but we actually need to add our dungeon gate to the scene. And we also need to add another thing, our shopkeeper here. So we'll do that first. That one doesn't require any setup, so we can just go to NPCs, and you should have either shopkeeper, or if you received an update in one project, you might have shopkeeper updated. You want to add either shopkeeper updated, or if you're a new student, just shopkeeper. And we want to add that somewhere in our scene. This guy is just going to handle being our shop for the game. Yours probably doesn't need to be scaled down. Mine does just because it's an older version, but in the updated versions, he is the appropriate size. But I bring up my scaling gizmo with the R key just to make him a little smaller. And then I also brought up my rotation gizmo with the E key just to get him to face the direction I want. I'm trying to decide on a good place for him. I think something like this. Yeah, maybe like this is good. We just want to get him somewhere in our level because he's going to be able to give us a lot of cool stuff. And then we also want to grab in the environment prefabs folder the dungeon gate prefab and stick that somewhere. So just like in my level, I like it being in this little cubby here, so I'm going to stick it in the cubby. There we go. Rotate it so it looks nice with that E key, get it set up, and then the same thing we need to actually first go to our build settings. So go to File, go to Build Settings, and hit Add Open Scenes. I recommend swapping the order here. So I recommend grabbing where it says Desert Base or Island Base and dragging it so it is above desert level, because the order here determines which level you load first when you play the game. So right now, if we were to build the game and load it from our desktop, we would start in Desert Base, which makes more sense than starting in our level. But let's get it into those base scenes, and then same thing, we're now gonna put the name of the dungeon we just added. So regardless of what base scene you're in, we need to have a new dungeon gate linking to either the desert level or island level. So I'm gonna type desert level, and then I'm going to go back to that desert folder, go to scenes, and grab that loading screen and drop that in. Once you've got all of that done, go ahead and save your scene.